And all right. Well, welcome everybody to our second part of our webinar for the Southeast Post-Secondary Education Alliance, key components of IPSE programs, the private college and technical college models. Today we have Dr. Andrea Pewitt from Lipscomb University and Bailey Smith from University of Arkansas-Pulaski Technical 3D program. Dr. Andrea Pewitt serves as the program director for IDEAL, Igniting the Dream of Education and Access at Lipscomb University in Nashville, Tennessee. Andrea has a bachelor's degree in elementary education, a master's degree in curriculum and instruction with a specialization in special education, and an educational specialist degree in administration and supervision from Austin Peay State University. Bailey Smith, and she now has her doctorate. We have not updated the SEPSEA bio. Sorry.
That's okay.
Yay, Andrea. Bailey Smith is the director of the University of Arkansas-Pulaski Technical College's 3D program. She is a Henderson State University alumna with a Master of Business Administration and a Bachelor of Science in Education. She has 5 years of experience teaching adult learners, 3 of those as part of the 3D program. She is a participating member of the Arkansas Alliance on Inclusive Post-Secondary Education and the Southeast Post-Secondary Ed Alliance. Bailey is passionate about learning and teaching, as well as providing access to inclusive post-secondary education and employment for all. Andrea is also highly involved in the Southeast Post-Secondary Ed Alliance. She is the vice chair of finances and helps us to continue doing this great work. Thank you, Bailey and Andrea, for being here today. And I am going to turn it over to Andrea to share her screen and for us to learn more about the Lipscomb program.
Thank you, Susanna. Hi, everyone. I am Andrea Pewitt from Nashville, Tennessee, Lipscomb University. We are a private university, right kind of in the heart of Nashville, but we're also kind of in a subdivision residential area, so it's kind of a hidden gem. We like to say we're away from all of the craziness of the downtown Nashville area and kind of a quiet little part of Nashville. And so we are a 4-year institution. We also have multiple graduate programs and doctoral programs as well. And so I'm going to talk just about IDEAL and kind of what our layout is at our campus and how our program runs here in partnership with other departments and colleges at the university. So IDEAL is a 2-year certificate program specifically for students with intellectual and developmental disabilities. It began in 2014 with 3 students and they graduated in December of 2015. We are currently up to 20 students. We have typically around 10 per cohort. This year our numbers are a little different, but it's a total of 20, and 16 of those students live in the dorms on campus. So I'm going to talk a little bit about how we got to that residential piece as we move along, because it is something that is unique to our program, and more universities are moving towards that direction as well, which we think is fantastic. So our vision is to provide young adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities access to opportunities for growth and independence that promote inclusion, belonging, and contribution, which can lead to life-changing outcomes, thus impacting students, families, and the community. So our mission statement's a little bit shorter. We kind of combined all of that into one sentence. We believe in empowering students with disabilities to become adults with opportunities. We think that kind of really sums up the entire program's mission. So our program of study currently is a 2-year program with an optional 3rd year. And during the 2-year program, students will participate in all campus activities. They will typically audit 8 university courses that spread out over the 2 years, so 2 a semester, and then take 8 topic-specific courses, all which help prepare students for employment post-graduation. So these are some areas that I'm going to talk about and kind of break down of how that looks like on a private campus, and areas that we have been able to kind of reach outside of our little zone to involve more students across the campus. This is kind of our mission and vision summarized. We believe everything revolves around creating meaningful life for our students. And so we focus on the four main areas of independent living, social development, academics, and career development, all with goals to help our students reach all of these areas to have a better quality of life and have a meaningful life after graduation. So our year one program of study looks like this. These are our topic specific courses. We have a transition to college, which all of our first year students will take in that fall semester to really learn about the campus technology, start learning and practicing self-advocacy skills. So if they're going to be absent from a university course or miss an internship, how do they navigate that to let their supervisor or professor know? We'll help them identify strategies to ensure that health and safety on campus and how to use a personal organization system. We use Google Calendar here and use Google Drive, which has been very helpful for a lot of those just organizational skills that students need. And then they'll take a career exploration course, which will talk about previous jobs or volunteer positions and really kind of talk about what is a job or a career that they'd like to receive after graduation and what is attainable. And so what is required in order to get that job. So we have a lot of students come in with really lofty dreams. Maybe you want to be a veterinarian or want to be a nurse. And so we really kind of dive deep into what does it take to get those careers? What kind of degrees do you need? And then where do we see our students falling into that line? And so really help our students understand how to reach a career that's in that field, but may not be that lofty goal that they originally came in with. Then we will focus on financial literacy. Everyone needs this, this course. We have a lot of traditional students that come into the course as peer mentors that wish that they could take this course for a credit because they are getting the information they need as well. And then we work on literacy for the workplace, which is how to work on writing a resume. We have all students complete a LinkedIn profile, work on filling out I-9 documents, things like that that students will need when they graduate, and kind of help them understand what those documents look like and how to fill those out. Students will also have an internship during their first year that is on campus, 5 to 6 hours a week. During the on-campus internship is when we really focus on learning the valuable soft skills of employment. Typically, they will work 1 hour a day, Monday through Friday during the fall semester. Then during the second semester, we will kind of increase that work tolerance to 2 hours a day spread over 3 days a week. We feel that's a good model to kind of help them slowly, gradually increase their work tolerance and how long they work at shifts. Then we also have workshops during the first year to involve a cooking lab, a counseling workshop. So here is a partnership we have with another department on campus, the Counseling Center. So we have partnered with the Counseling Center and they have graduate students who come in and lead workshops with our students on conflict management, stress management, social skills, relationships, just kind of all of those topics that they are gaining experience that can help them in the field when they graduate with their master's in counseling, but it also helps our students kind of gain that knowledge that our counseling students are better able to provide. And then we do a semester on positive choices on just dating and relationships, social and professional, and what does a professional relationship look like in the workplace and what is appropriate and what is not, to kind of help our students prepare for that. Second year is very similar. The topic specific courses are financial literacy 2. So we're moving on a little deeper into budgeting, online banking systems, looking at housing criteria for students that want to live independently after graduation, and strategies to keep their information safe online. Then we do interpersonal communication, so personal and professional communication. When you're emailing your supervisor or texting them, you're not using your texting lingo, but actually typing out the whole words and not just abbreviations for things that I don't understand what they're trying to tell me. And so we really work on the different forms of communication and then how to resolve conflict in the workplace as well. And then independent living skills will work on ways to help keep dorm rooms clean, help keep homes clean, talk about modes of transportation, how to get around the community, and evaluate opportunities in the community for volunteering or social activities. And then the last semester, students will take preparing for life after college, where they will work on job descriptions and kind of searching for jobs, starting to apply for jobs, kind of working on beefing up their resume and their cover letters to have those ready and understanding what's needed for those jobs. This year, they will do their internship off campus. So here we're moved from 5 to 6 hours a week to 7 to 8 hours a week. Typically, they'll do 3.5 hours a day, 2 days a week, to 4 hours a day, 2 days a week in the spring. Some students, if they're not ready for a 3-hour shift, they may break it to 3 days a week for 2.5 hours a day on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Really just depends on the student need. They will continue with cooking lab workshop, counseling workshop, and positive choices. This year, we add in a transportation piece where they will work on workshops to identify strategies for using public transportation and rideshare options. We teach our students how to use Uber and Lyft and Earth Rides and the different ride shares and how to remain safe with that, how to identify the driver, how to identify the license plate, what questions to ask, etc. So part of our social development, what we feel is extremely important is our students spend 85% or more of their day with traditional college students. After the first week of students being shadowed by an ideal staff member to make sure they can get to their buildings and navigate the campus safely, we turn them loose and they are navigating the campus completely on their own for the most part. Every now and then we'll have another student that needs a little extra support, and that support comes through the use of a peer mentor, because that's more of a natural support than it is to have me following a student around campus. Every student has a circle of support, which includes anywhere from 6 to 10 peers and one kind of lead peer, which we call the circle of support leader. And they are all undergraduate students that volunteer to work as a lunch mentor, an exercise mentor, study, or attend chapel with our students. We have chapel twice a week. And then we also have job coaching and spiritual mentor roles that our traditional students are able to sign up to volunteer. But most importantly, they're friends. Last semester, we had over 100 undergraduate students participate for 20 students. So that kind of tells you what our ratio is, and it's a great, it's really great to see what we have. Part of being at a private university is our students, when they enroll, traditional students on campus are required to do service hours and complete those during their time working on their degree. And so Ideal is a spot where students can volunteer, and typically during their freshman first semester, they will sign up to volunteer to get the 15 service hours that are required. But then when they really get to know our students, become involved, they continue to come back every semester after that when they're not getting credit. But they just come because they really enjoy being with our students and serving in those roles. We have a summer academy, which is kind of unique. There's a couple of other post-secondary programs that have started offering a summer academy, but it is a 1-week residential academy where the students that are incoming for the fall that we've already accepted are required to attend. And then we have students who are looking at attending or applying for the next fall. We'll come and check it out to see what college is like. And it gives us an opportunity to spend a week with students that are prospective to apply for the next year to see what they think of college. And so they get the full dorm life experience. They will take college readiness classes. We'll do career exploration activities. We have lots of social events to make it kind of like a fun summer camp. And then we'll do summer service projects as well. This gives us an opportunity to evaluate our students that are starting in the fall to decide what supports are needed and what things we need to have in place before they begin, as well as looking at those prospective students for the next year. And we can identify areas of need or areas of additional support that the family can work on before the student applies to the program for the next year. So campus partnerships. So if you're looking at developing a program on campus, these are some offices that we have reached out to and developed partnerships with that we think are have been really beneficial and are really great areas to reach out to and kind of expand that circle. We have the Career Development Office. So during the year, we will collaborate with the Career Development Office for interview fairs, resume editing, and mock interviews. This is things that they do with all traditional students. And so we have partnered with them to also help our students prepare for that job interview when they graduate. The Office of Risk Management partners with us to provide workshops about Title IX. Safety and Security Office will partner with us to do safety workshops, how to be safe in the community, especially for our females. We have talked about offering some self-defense workshops for our students that can help when they're out in the community, but also just how to interact with a police officer. So if you are in the community and you get pulled over, if our students are driving, or if you're just walking, in the neighborhood, how is it best to interact with a police officer? And so we have those workshops as well. And then our Department of Nutrition, we provide disability sensitivity training to their graduate students who are dietetic interns. And then those students in return provide workshops for our students on making healthy eating choices in the cafeteria or in the food court. And then our Center for Teaching and Learning provides professional development for faculty members on providing accommodations for students with disabilities in the classroom. So not just students in the IDEAL program, but all students that receive accessibility services from the Office of Accessibility here on campus. We have partnered with the Office of Student Life so that students can participate in social clubs as honorary members. We have kind of our own rush fair that our students will go through, so it's not involved with all of the other craziness that rush brings with social clubs, but our students can go through a similar experience as well. Students have served as student managers to various teams and athletics. This is unique, I think. Our mission center, part of Lipscomb, a lot of students participate in mission trips and kind of serving all around the country and around the world. We have partnered with the missions to provide a mission trip in the spring for IDEAL students and peer mentors. It's semi-local, so it's within a 2 or 3 hour drive. The students will go for a couple of days, and then we'll be able to serve and to have kind of a mission type project, just as traditional students have, except we don't involve hammers or drills or saws. We focus our mission trips on other areas where we can help and serve that are also safe. And then our admissions office, we have prospective students will register with the admissions office for campus tours, just as a traditional student would. And then they will come and have kind of a 30-minute info session with one of the IDEAL staff members after the tour. Our application process is very similar to pretty much all the programs. We do require a recent psychological evaluation, the most recent IEP. We have our students record a video personal statement of up to 5 minutes where they just talk to us about why they want to go to college, what their career goal is, what are things that interest them. It kind of helps us see the student, hear the student more so than a piece of paper. They will complete a personal inventory about what accommodations and modifications were helpful for them in college or in high school, what things they're interested in, and kind of their level they feel of independence. 2 letters of recommendation and transcript. We have the opportunity to do experience days on campus, and this is part of the application process where they will, after we review them and decide if they're a good fit or not, they will come and actually spend a full day with us on campus without the parents. So parents will drop them off, and then we're able to kind of put them into different scenarios to see how they react and to see how they interact with peer mentors and how they interact with other students, how they interact with staff. And that really gives us a good picture of the student as well. And then we have decisions in the spring. Eligibility, we kept our TIPSID eligibility, even though we are no longer funded under TIPSID. We continue that on. So still have to be between the ages of 18 to 26, have a documented intellectual disability. We say students have to be able to sit through a 50 to 75-minute course independently for 2 hours block of time, and then have the ability to accept and follow the rules and behave respectfully towards others. And then the biggest one is just have a desire to attend college. So when we do the interviews or the experience day and we ask the student, why do you want to go to college? If their response is, my mom and dad made me come, they're probably not going to be accepted into the program. And that is all I have. So I think questions are now or after Bailey's.
We'll let Bailey go and then we'll do questions.
Well, do. Let me stop my share. Okay. Turn it over to Bailey. There we are.
All right, sorry, it took me a minute to get this right again. Share this. All right, so can you guys see that now?
There you go.
All right, so like they said, I am Bailey Smith. I'm the director of the 3D program at the University of Arkansas-Pulaski Technical College. We're located in Little Rock, Arkansas. It's kind of South Little Rock. We are a part of the culinary school here. So all of our students study either culinary baking or hospitality or something in that field. It doesn't mean that all of our students end up working in that field because we do teach them like life skills and basically how to get ready for any sort of job that they want. But all of the traditional classes that they take are within that realm. So we are the 3D program. It stands for Defining the Dimensions of Diversity. All right. We provide post-secondary educational opportunities to our students. Preparation for employment. Employment is the goal, just like all of our programs. We have certificate programs in culinary, baking, and hospitality. And all of our students have intellectual or developmental disabilities. So kind of an overview. Our mission statement is a lot longer than Andrea's, but we provide access to high quality education that promotes student learning and enables individuals with developmental disabilities to develop to their fullest potential through unique targeted programs for business and industry. So basically, we give them the best education that they can while they're here so that they can go out and get whatever job they want and live on their own if that's what they want to do and be, as successful as they want to. All right, so this is stuff that we all know. We'll kind of go over what we do. We are a part of Pulaski Technical College. All of our students want to get jobs. That's something that we've really kind of worked on the last couple of years in our application process is admitting students to the program who want to work. We had some of the first couple cohorts that came through would get to graduation and be like, well, I don't want to get a job. So we're really trying to train up the students who want to work and want to go out and, find a career that they love and get an apartment and do all the things that we kind of take for granted. We do have structured curriculum and degree trees, depending on what they're studying. Our students they spend 65% of their time with students who do not have disabilities. That's through internships. They take the traditional courses. They also do external internships, so they get an internship out in the community where they go to a job that they would want to work at in the future. And it's kind of like a trial period. And we'll go over more of that later. So because we're a CTP program, our students use Pell Grants and federal work study money to pay for school. That's really, really important because most of our students wouldn't be able to come if they didn't get that funding. Last year, we had 20 students and 5 of them had work study positions. So they get paid to get a job on campus, as well as they learn real life work skills that you need. During their work studies, we try to be as hands-off as possible so that we can kind of gauge how they do. They generally will be a second or third year student that we've kind of already met with and set expectations. And then we can use them as money because a lot of our students need it, but also to see if they will be able to go out into the community and get a job without having us looking over their shoulder all the time. A little bit of history. It started with 4 students in a pilot program. The first graduating class was May of 2015. We became a CTP in 2016. And so far we've had 49 students graduate and 50% of those have jobs, which we'd like to have a little higher. But 50% of 49 students is pretty good at the same time. All right. So students in our program are encouraged to confront and own their limitations. So we do a whole lot of self-advocacy training, try to teach the students how to ask for help, how to know what they can and can't do. And we work with them hands-on in the class and then in our 3D only classes as well. All right, so disability is not inability. We focus on what each student is good at. So in the first semester, whenever they start coming to our program, they go through and they, try to figure out what do I want to do as a job? Where would I like to work? And we have some students who have really high aspirations. They want to own restaurants and be CEOs, and we kind of do the same thing and talk about, so what does it take to get to that? Do you have the skills needed? Or if not, then what do you have to do to get there? And we kind of focus on this is what you can do, this is what you're good at. What would you like to do within that realm? All right. So our students, they have to meet all of the same requirements as a CTP, but the general difference in us is they have to have a sincere interest in baking, culinary, or hospitality. Because we are just a part of this school, most of the students who have come in the past and were not really interested in baking, culinary, or hospitality didn't do very well. But just like with anybody, if you're not interested in it, you're not really going to put your best foot forward and try to do the best that you can. So through our application and interviewing process, we have really put that at the forefront. And we have some really stellar cohorts right now, full of people who can't wait to get out and go work at a bakery or in a restaurant. And we even have some hospitality people. The passion for self-improvement, and then a goal of competitive employment, because we are employment centered. Even if you don't want to work at a restaurant, you come through, you do your time, you're like, I decided a restaurant's not for me. Our students still leave with the skills that they need to find a job, keep the job, and hopefully stay there forever. So this is just a little piece of the industry. We all know COVID's kind of taken out our industry a little bit, but now companies are facing difficulties in recruiting and retaining qualified employees. So the number one thing that our students have that other people don't is we teach them to be dependable. So they show up to work on time every day in their uniform and get to work once they get there. Finding employees in today's job market that will show up every single day on time is very, very hard. So that's something that we push a lot with our students. They clock in and out whenever they get to school, whenever they leave school. And we try to make their educational experience as much like a job as possible so that when they leave, they will be a valuable employee. Our goals: academic enrichment, socialization, independent living, and self-advocacy skills, and then work experiences and career skills leading to gainful employment. So these are the things that we kind of cover in the academic. Critical thinking, immersion learning. They do take the traditional curriculum. So if a traditional student comes and they decide they want to be a chef, they take these set classes. All of the students who come to our program and want to be a chef or work in a restaurant, they'll take the same classes for audit, and we'll give them assignments and stuff, kind of modify the curriculum so that it meets them where they're at. And then they'll also take our 3D only classes, which is where we kind of teach like the self-advocacy and independent living and stuff that's not in your traditional college curriculum. All right. Our students are held to exceptionally high standards, and we enforce that every single day. We do modify the instruction and accommodate their needs, but it's not something where they can just show up and kind of do whatever they want to and then they graduate. We expect them to show up every day, turn in their homework, ask for help when they need it. And then we provide supports for them throughout that process as well. A lot of our students will get extra time, simple directions, we'll shorten assignment. So like if you have to write a paper, 5-page paper about why you want to be a chef, then our guys may write a paragraph or record a video of themselves talking about it or something else that still meets the same kind of objective. We do have the benefit of having dining services here on campus. We have lunches and dinners. In our first semester curriculum, our cohort will serve lunch to serve for the lunch services. So they get to work on communication and how to take plates to a table and remove them and talk to people in the public and how to, not interrupt a business meeting and stuff like that. So I think that's something really beneficial that we do. That's part of the socialization piece. We also work a lot on like interpersonal communication. How do you talk to each other? But they really get to put that to practice whenever they're in the dining room. And it's full of 50 or 60 people who came to eat lunch with us. For independent living skills and self-advocacy, we cover emergency and safety, food management, health and nutrition. There's actually a whole class on that they take. Interpersonal skills, job maintenance, job seeking. Personal appearance and personal hygiene is huge. We work in kitchens around food that other people are going to eat. So that's something they have an entire class over safety and sanitation the first semester. And we really heavily hit the personal appearance and personal hygiene piece there, as well as time management. So for the independent living and self-advocacy, they have support. We do have some mentors. Our mentor program is something that we're really trying to focus on beefing up. We do have some issues getting as many mentors as other places because we are a community college. So our students come to class, and then after class, they go home and take care of their kids and take care of their parents or go to work. So it's really been kind of a struggle for us trying to figure out how do we get people to stay after class without money, because we don't have money for that. But it's in the works. And we do have some students that will step up after class, but we have a lot of students will be natural supports in the classroom. A lot of the classes take place in labs, and you're like physically up doing knife cuts or butchering meat or baking bread or cookies and things. And students will be partnered. Our students are usually partnered with a traditional student, and they provide a natural support that way. We also get help from Arkansas Rehab Services, independent case management. Our advisory board gives us a lot of good feedback. People who have hired our students may say, I'd really like it if they were able to do this, and then we'll add that to the curriculum. And then other community employer partners. So our students are professional, dependable, and employable. This is kind of what our curriculum looks like. The 3D core skills instruction, that's what's taught by our 3D instructors, and that's where we do our independent living, campus membership, and employability type of stuff. And then the traditional instruction, these are the classes where I was talking about. They take in the traditional classroom with the traditional chefs, with the natural support of the other students. We currently offer 3 different certificates. These are certificates from UAPTC. We have a certificate of completion. That's a 2-year program where they come and they take classes in a specific discipline for 2 years. And then the other 3 are 3-year programs where they have a certificate of completion and an emphasis. For the emphasis, they take some of the upper level classes and work a whole lot more on their own to gain higher level skills. These are just some pictures of where we're at. Because we're a hospitality school, we are able to teach some independent living skills. We teach them how to make a bed. We have irons, ironing boards, bathrooms that they can clean. This is set up like a hotel room, so we can train people to work at a hotel to do the rooms, or just how to take care of their room at home or their apartment if they get an apartment or a house. We have the facilities to teach them with that. This is our classroom where all of our classes take place. And then an example of one of the kitchens. And then this is some of our students meeting. This is the dining room where they serve lunch. And then this is some of our students working in a kitchen. When our students are in class, you can't tell the difference in a 3D student and a traditional student. And that's best practice. And it allows them to feel like they really are a part of the class and a part of the campus. And because of that, they, strive to do well. We do have world-renowned chef instructors, so they're not learning how to cook from me. They're learning how to cook from somebody who may have cooked at the Olympics or owned their own restaurant or ran a bunch of different restaurants. or owned a bakery and stuff like that. So it gives a lot of credibility to it. They also, like I said, have mentors. A lot of them will meet friends. That's my favorite part about the program is whenever a student comes on the first day and they all sit in their desk and no one really talks to anybody. And then by the last day, you can't get them to stop talking to each other, and they're planning what they're going to do after school and on the weekends and things. But then also career training on the job training. We teach them about volunteering. This picture of us at the food bank, so that they know the importance of volunteering and getting out in the community and being a part of wherever you live. Here's some program costs. Our program's $53.40 a semester. I'm just going to cover this real quick so you can see how it kind of works. We use most of our students get Pell Grant work study positions that pay minimum wage, but they can get 20 hours a week. We're lucky to get Arkansas Rehab Services funding that pays up to $2,500 a semester. So if you get full Arkansas Rehab and full Pell Grant, then you don't have to pay out of pocket to come to school. And 80% of our students fall within that category and don't have to pay out of pocket to come get their education, which is really important because that can be a barrier for some of them. But we try our best to get that removed. We also provide all books, uniforms, and supplies for our students. So once you get in, you have your tuition and fees, and we provide literally everything else you need down to the pencils and thermometers and paper if you need it. We also have Chromebooks. So a lot of our work is done online, but they get a Chromebook they can check out each semester and use that to do all of their work. Last thing I'm going to touch on, we do have a partnership with ICM, that's Independent Case Management. And they help us out with a lot of what we do. In-school support. So while the student's in school, they provide transportation assistance. So any of the students who have Medicaid can get transportation to come to school. They'll pick them up at their house, drop them off at school, and then pick them up at school and drop them off back at their house. We also have city bus and some other things, but they work with the students to make sure that having a ride to school not having a ride to school is not going to keep them from coming. They also provide academic assistance. So there's one-on-one instruction. They help us with the goals. They help them in the classroom if needed, and then provide tutoring as well. Internships, the second and third year, they have internships. With the third year, they're off campus, and ICM will assist in finding the internships. So we focus mostly on education, and they help us with the job portion of it, as well as providing job coaches for internships if needed, and then job search development. So if the student graduates from our program and doesn't have a job, then they can work with ICM employees post-graduation to help them find the job that they want, review how to interview well, apply for jobs, how to dress, and they'll help them contact employers, and we'll even go and take them to the interviews if that's what they need to see, so that they are successful after they leave our program. And that is all I have. Here's our contact information, and then a picture of the school where we work and live.
Thanks so much, Bailey. I do have 2 questions here, and I don't know if anyone else has questions in the audience, but the first question is, what are ways you've encouraged inclusion with students on campus especially at the technical colleges. And I know, Billy, you talked a little bit about that, but how do you promote inclusive programming and programs?
It's kind of built into the program because they're in the traditional classes with the other students, and our students get in rotation just like anyone else. We also do like some student fairs and at orientation and stuff. We'll have tables and just we'll talk to the classes if there's an issue that comes up and someone's not really sure how to deal with the situation, or we've had times where a traditional student maybe didn't want to work with our student anymore because something went south. We can talk to them and kind of teach them about the world and how it works, and provide the traditional students with support if that's what's needed so that they can, work well with our students just as well as, any other traditional student. So mostly we just, try to encourage everyone to work together. We're kind of like a family here anyways, but then if there is an issue or someone doesn't really want to follow suit, then we'll, do what we have to do to help them understand and educate them on what is going on and why.
Thanks, Bailey. Andrea, do you have anything to add about promoting inclusion?
Yeah, so a lot of the same things. We involve ourselves in a lot of our student org fairs and different things to recruit our peer mentors and just kind of answer questions about what is ideal and what does it mean to be a peer mentor, or just to interact and to really improve that inclusion element. We try to attend all of the freshman orientation classes during the first couple of weeks to kind of talk about ideal, who we are, who our students are, to kind of put the name out there for our incoming students. And that's been very successful as far as recruiting, but then also just kind of educating students on campus of who Ideal is and who our students are, and just how to better involve them. And so the other thing, we just push our students out into everything possible on campus as well.
Right, so we have a second question that someone submitted, and they're from Arkansas. So Bailey, you don't have to answer this question. Andrea, I'm gonna give a couple of answers. It's about state level scholarships, but there might be a couple people on here that I might call on to explain kind of different state level scholarships. So there are several things. So our technical college system in Georgia, so I'm in Georgia, has a separate, it's the Hope Scholarship, but a separate strand of hope that goes towards technical colleges. And our students in our Albany Tech Leap program, and we have a couple people here, are eligible for that funding. And so that is a possibility. Also, thanks to my colleague Star, I have it really easily available. Ohio has a scholarship that they worked on with their legislature. So I can throw that in the chat box really quick too. So I can access it super easy. I don't have to Google it. Thanks, Star. Andrea, do you mind talking about Step Up Scholarship in Tennessee really quick?
Yeah, so in Tennessee, we have Step Up, which is kind of like our Tennessee Promise, which is for traditional students. The only eligibility criteria is they have to be within 16 months of completing high school. They have to fill out a FAFSA application and then apply, and then it pays about $1,700 a semester towards tuition at any of the programs in Tennessee.
All right. And Kentucky also has a scholarship so they have their lottery funded scholarship as well. And instead of doing a mirrored scholarship like Tennessee did, they were able to just get a criteria change to theirs. So their CTP students are not don't have to be held to the eligibility standards when it comes to GPA, ACT, and things like that. And there are some Florida student scholarships. Drew, I can share that in the chat box, or do you want to say something?
Well, I put the link in the chat box, but the Florida Post-Secondary Comprehensive Transition Program Act of 2016 that established this Florida Center for Students with Unique Abilities also funded program development, money for program development, and money for student scholarships. So any student that is in a Florida Post-Secondary Comprehensive Transition Program receives a $7,000 a year scholarship to support participation in that program.
Thank you, Drew and other colleagues. So those are the state level scholarships. I'll open it up to anyone else with questions.
I have a question. This is Anna. And I'm in North Carolina at the Carolina Institute for Developmental Disabilities. And we're also, it's connected to, it's the USED in North Carolina, and it's connected to UNC Chapel Hill. And we've been working on developing an inclusive post-secondary program there. The question I had was for Andrea about your summer program. So it sounds like you have not only students who are planning to attend the 2-year program, but also other students. And I just wondered how you made that work. Are they, like, is it part of an orientation type of thing where they would always, so regardless of whether they've been in that summer program or not, do they have to go through it again if they come into the program a year later, that kind of thing?
Yeah. So typically we take about 20 to 24 students for the summer program. So 10 of those students are students that we've already accepted to start in the fall. And then the other 10 to 14 are students that are prospective to look at for the next fall. So if a student comes during their junior year of high school, after their junior year, before their senior year, they come to the summer camp, they do really well, they enjoy it, they apply to the program that fall for the next fall, they would have to come back to the summer academy again the next year, which has never really been a problem. Our students want to come every summer to the summer camp. We had one student who actually came 3 years in a row because she came during her junior year, and then after her senior year, she wanted to do a year of transition. So she came back to the summer academy again, and then we accepted her the next year, and then she came during that time. And so this year, this past summer, we had to run 2 separate camps because of the COVID regulations on campus. So the only students that were able to stay in the dorm for the summer were students that had already been accepted because they were considered university students at that point. So they were covered under different insurance policies and things with the university. And so then our second camp we ran as just a 3-day kind of day camp type experience because we couldn't have them live in the dorm. And they were students who were prospective students looking to apply the next year. So it was still a good experience. It didn't get us quite the same information as far as the independent skills of living in the dorm, but it did give us more information on the students that are applying for this year. So that is a second option to look at, and we're looking at possibly doing that again this summer. Did that kind of answer?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then how is that private pay? Is it how do they cover the expenses for that?
Yeah, so the students do have to pay a tuition for it. It was $750 for the residential camp, and that covers their dorm. They will room with another student, and then all of their meals, and then any excursions we do in town. And so we do have a scholarship that's available, for students if needed, but students do pay that fee. We started at $500. We had to increase it to $750 just because the cost of everything kind of skyrocketed. Our day camp was $100 because we didn't have the dorm and we only had 1 meal a day for the 3 days. And then students get a t-shirt and, different swag and stuff while they're there.
Thank you.
Sure.
I have a question for Bailey. Bailey, when you talked about the Pell Grant, so are all of the students in your program fully enrolled in the CTE program, whether it be culinary, bakery, whatever? Are they fully enrolled in that program? And so that Pell Grant is covering that tuition?
They're not fully enrolled in the traditional sense.
Right?
But they do, we're tuition and fees based. So they pay, like each of our classes are 3 hours and they have like $176 plus our fee on top of it. And the Pell Grant pays for our classes just like it pays for anyone else's.
Okay.
And like when they register for one of our classes, like our Blackboard's different. It's run by our 3D instructors instead of like the traditional instructor.
Mhm.
So when we copy over their curriculum, we can do the modifications without it affecting any of the other students' assignments.
Okay. And then I know you gave a list of the different certificates that student, the certificates of completion in different areas.
Mhm.
And there, are they earning any other type of credentials in the program?
Right now, we're in the works of getting ACF credentialing for them, like the American Culinary Federation. Because when our traditional students graduate, they get badges and stuff through the ACF,
Yes.
which is important for when they get jobs. And over the summer, I went to the national conference and talked to a guy about it. And we're in the works for our students to be able to get the certificates when their certifications when they graduate as well. And they're stackable. So it's something that they can, test in 3 years and move up from like whatever level they start at.
Right. One of those things that kind of builds.
Yeah.
Okay. The just at can I ask another question, Susanna? Okay. And Bailey, I'm working here in Florida, and we're working with a lot of technical colleges and trying to. Are you finding that the credential that you're offering that employers are finding? Do you have good employment outcomes for your students moving into specific jobs related to that? I'm always working, how do we do better? That's why I'm asking this question. I'm saying, what are the tricks that you've learned about how that credential helps students move to employment in that credential area, and then also levels in them, levels of employment, length of employment, benefits with employment, that kind of thing. Are you collecting any data on that? And I'm not trying to put you on the spot. I'm just curious because, I'm trying to figure all of this. We're looking at this in Florida and really wanting to continually be improving.
Yeah, that's something that we've looked at a lot. I haven't even been in this position for a year yet.
Oh, wow. Well, you sound like you've been in it a lot longer.
Well, thanks. But no, that's something we're looking at. We have like our employment rates. Generally, when our students get a job, they stay there. Like we have students who were in the first cohort and still have the same job as they did when they graduated in 2015. But as far as like the employers, like when we go out looking for jobs, they don't seem to be like too concerned about the certificates and things. And we meet with them and we explain kind of what we do. And I think the fact that our students, even though it's audited, they still are in the same classes that the traditional students are for their associate's degree. So the exposure to the information is the same. And that's kind of what we use to sell it, as well as the skills. Our students have skills. They're, valuable employees. And through our internships, we're able to really kind of show them that without it hitting their pocketbook. If you're interested in a student, we'll see if one of our students is a fit, and then you can have them for an internship for a semester. And if it works, great. Hopefully it turns into a job. But if it doesn't, then that's fine. Maybe it just wasn't a fit for whatever reason, and we'll go on to the next one, or we can see if there's a different student in our program that might be a fit for what they're looking for.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for those important questions, Drew. And I think we and Georgia are in the same boat. We have Albany Technical College, and I know y'all have several in Florida, but trying to think through how do we expand and do better. So I've got some ideas for some future SEPSEA webinars. So thank you all for being here. I know everyone has other things to go to, but thank you, Andrea and Bailey. I've got their email addresses in the chat box. We will be uploading this to YouTube and then putting it on our SEPSEA webpage and sending it to you guys who registered. So thanks, everybody, and we will see you soon.
Thank you.